All right, so let's recap real quick what we've done so far. We have updated a little bit the size so that we can see it better here. And we also have changed the order of the properties here to group them together, all the flex properties. We also updated this part where we are actually removing the input. So this over here, and replace that with an emoji. And we're going to commit that now. As much as I like the emoji here, we would like to have a different icon there, which is the material icon one. So if you recall, to be able to display those icons, we're making use of the I tag here, as well as the material icons class, which will in turn convert this string here, check underscore box, to the first icon over here on the browser. And similarly, the second icon will be shown by doing this. So that renders the empty checkbox, right? And we are able to do this because we're importing the style sheet here. But when we are attempting to use the font icon over here, we can't place I tags with the classes and stuff on the content. So what do? We get a hold of something called a code point, which in this case, this would be the code point for the checkbox, and the following will be the code point for the empty checkbox, right? So, but what happens if I save this? We get all these square characters here, and depending on the browser, this could be rendered differently. But you can tell here that this is not the result we wanted. Note that this is not the empty checkbox, it's rather a symbol that it's indicating that we do not have this character available. And so what we do to fix that is we go here to the label, and for both the before and after elements, we set the font family. In this case, we want to apply the material icons font, and right away, as I save the file, you can see over here on the browser that the icon is being replaced. Awesome. So a couple of things to notice here is, one, we don't have this aligned on the vertical axis, and this is not looking very good here. And the second is that we have a little bit of an error here. And the problem is that we are not providing a generic font family. Apart from the fonts that you set, it's advised to provide a generic font family. And in this case, it doesn't really make a difference because none of these have the characters that we need, but let's just get rid of that linting error by doing so. Okay. Next step would be to try and align these vertically. And here we're gonna depart a little bit from the CodePen because I kind of found another solution to this problem. So first of all, let's try and set a background color for the entire label. And this will allow us to differentiate in between the label and the icon itself, as well as the background overall. So applying a background to the label, but then also a background color to the icon itself will help us to see how that's not centered at all. Okay, so what do we do to center it? Just as we did with the overall layout for our example checkboxes, we can use flexboxing here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this display inline flex so that the elements inside of the label, namely the before and after elements, will behave as flex items. Next thing, as you remember, is to align the items on the center. And like magic, all of the icons are now vertically centered. All right, so let's see what happens if we changed the font size for the icon itself. And let's say we want it to be smaller, half its size. Okay. So it's still centered, and we could make it bigger than that. All right, it looks like it's still centered vertically, so I think we are good to go here. Let's leave that at 1em. And during my experimentation with creating the video, I came across something else that I added to my styles, and that is attempting to center also the text of the label itself. So if we were to add a font size here, doesn't look like it makes a difference. But then if I changed the line height as well, then the label in my experimentation started to also align itself to the vertical axis. So one thing I wanted to do and the whole purpose of that is to be able to customize these values here. So if I were to have an icon size as well, now we can start playing around with the values for the font size here and the icon size here. All right, and you can tell we are still centering vertically, and this should be good. Awesome. So let's leave this at 1 and 1. That should work. And let's comment out these. All right, looking good.